This is TWiT.
What is Versal?
Versal is an online platform where anybody can create online courses and publish them. So to give you a little bit of a background, I sold Zone Labs, and then I had finally, in the first time in my life really, a little bit of time at my hands.
You can just retire. Relax. That's what Philippe did. He went sailing.
Oh, Philippe works probably harder than anybody else.
But he does when he's sailing too. I've seen him sailing on the bay.
I mean, it's like I don't think he's ever out of reach. And no, I love what I'm doing. This is not, for me, it's not a chore. I love building technology, but I kind of like was essentially thinking about what's the next cool thing to do.
Right.
And I took some online classes.
Oh, that's neat.
And I was actually really frustrated because a lot of these online classes, and by the way, Linda is a big exception because they have really amazing
video courses. Thank you for saying that.
No, I'm not.
They do a great job.
They really do a great job.
But you're right. Not to name names, but there are a lot of places where it can be very frustrating to learn.
And a lot of the online education comes from Harvard, from Stanford, and things like that, and they really kind of make the courses for themselves.
It's basically their college course recorded, which is great that they're giving that away, like the Open Courseware initiative. That's great, but it's not, you're right, it's not interactive.
It's not interactive. It's, you can't play with that, and frankly, it's filmed lectures. And for me, look, there's a reason why I dropped out of school. If you put me in a lecture for an hour and a half, I doze off after 5 minutes. And they're building these courses for people who actually go to Stanford, go to Harvard, who have perfect recall, perfect notes, and actually can sit there for an hour and a half and actually take something away from that. It doesn't work for me. And I would suspect it doesn't work for most people. So we then started looking, hey, why are these courses not any better? Why are they not interactive? Why can't play? And I had this experience when I was a kid in Germany. We went, the whole class went to the Deutsche Museum in Munich, which is a very, very cool technical museum, very much hands-on. And they had in the middle of the museum, a big metal cage. And they put a guy in the middle of the cage, and then we had a console in front of it. We could press a button, and every time we press a button, there would be a big flashes on the guy, and the guy didn't die, which was kind of cool. And
you remember it, don't you?
Well, I remember that. I also remember the principle that you have a metal cage, the electricity stays at the perimeter, it's called a Faraday cage, and I never got this repeated afterwards. I remember that from then, and the only reason why I remember it is because I actually got to press a button. And that really taught me one thing, that if you want to learn something, you have to participate in that. And they knew that 30, 40 years ago, and then fast forward into online education, into all these MOOCs, they completely forgot that lesson.
MOOCs?
MOOCs, yeah.
Massively online.
You probably get it better
something
together.
I don't know.
Massive online, something. Something massive online courses.
MOOCs is what they call them, and there are quite a few of them. Khan Academy is very famous, but there's a lot of these.
Khan Academy is a little different. I would put them in a somewhat different category.
Because you just go and you watch the videos. MOOCs, you actually you sign up, you take the class.
But that just didn't work for me.
This is not a MOOC.
No, not at all. So what we looked at is, why are these courses so bad? And then we discovered it's very, very expensive to produce good ones, because a couple of good ones, and there are good courses out there, they have to actually hire a bunch of JavaScript developers who build them the courses, which is prohibitively expensive, particularly if you go into more peripheral areas. So we said, okay, we build a better platform to build these courses. So we don't publish courses. I mean, we have a bunch of sample courses on the website, but the core is that anybody can create their own courses. And we invented this whole idea of a learning gadget. A learning gadget can be the standard thing, can be a video, can be text, can be all of these things. But a learning gadget can be a three-dimensional model that you play around with. It can be a timeline. It can be what we call deeper diagram, the way of discovering in a graphic and clicking on things and kind of finding more layers, almost like a game. And you can create all of these things without any kind of programming.
I'm playing it right now. I'm learning about B-Boy.
Okay, good.
Oh, here we go. Now so you choose a style of style of study rather. Scatter, learn, test, flashcards, space race, speller. So these are different ways that people like to learn.
Well, there are all kinds of learning gadgets in the in there. So it's an open platform. You have, I think we have now 60 different ones. And again, they reach from very, very simple ones to very complicated ones. And what you're looking at right now is actually a Quizlet, which is
it's fun.
Which is a third party, which is a company that makes us really quizzes. But
oh,
we now
interesting. So you embed it into the course.
We can embed existing videos, we can embed Prezis, we can embed SketchUp,
SoundCloud
videos,
here,
SoundCloud, and so on.
So you use tools that are existing tools.
We have our own, and we use existing ones. And a teacher or a professor or an instructor can actually look. The teacher comes to the classroom today, and they come with a bucket of stuff.
Right.
So they said, "Oh, well, here's all the things you should look at."
Right.
But there's really no learning experience behind that because it's not coordinated, it's not in a specific order and things like that. So what we allow them is to take all of the things that they already have, and some of them they might create on Versal, and put them in a linear orthogonal form. So do this first, watch that video, do a quiz,
right.
then do this Quizlet, then watch that Prezi, then do another quiz, and so on. So it allows them really to curate a lot of this content in addition to creating their own content.
So do you need to be a learning specialist to this?
No,
I mean,
not
this
at all.
B-Boy course was created by an intern of yours.
Yeah. No, we're signing up about 500 teachers a day right now.
How do you help them create a useful course? Do you?
Well, in a lot of cases, they already do that.
They have the materials,
They have
for
the
sure.
materials, and for them, the challenge is really that their students live in this electronic world. They live on iPads, they live on iPhones and things
Right.
like that, and they are still on a whiteboard and with books. And so one of the really interesting things about what we're doing is we actually enabling teachers to suddenly speak the same language as a student is. They are now cool. They actually can publish stuff online, and the students can actually get these courses online.
Is this free?
It's free for basic use, so it's like the YouTube model. You can create your courses, you can publish them. And if you want to track your learners, you want to get results from the learners, you pay a fairly moderate fee. I think it's $50 a year.
$50 a year.
For
so
per
a
teacher.
school, a teacher could use this.
And then we have licensing for larger organizations or school districts and so on that then can basically have a license for everybody else.
As a learner, I can come here and take there's some courses here already.
Yes, but that's really, as a learner, you can take the sample courses we have on the website.
These are more to demonstrate.
They demonstrate what we're doing. It's really for teachers, for corporate trainers. We have customer. I give you one example. For example, the Cherokee Nation has all the history courses on Versal, because it allows them, without programmers, without anything like that, in a very, very rich, interesting way to tell the history of the Cherokee, to tell the history of the Trail of Tears, and all of that stuff. And they don't have to go to an instructional designer. They don't have to do any of that stuff. They can do it themselves.